Let's have a chat about pallet fencing for your garden. Welcome back once again. I am still Chintzy Barado. If you live on a homestead, you are going to deal with one thing, and that is fencing. And I don't mean like the sword fighting type, I mean fences. We use fencing for garden beds, fencing to protect our fruit trees, fencing to keep people out and animals, or to keep people in. Fencing to protect our animals. Fencing to use as trellising. Pallet fencing can also keep you well hidden from the old lady.
Chintzy, where are you? You need to take out the trash and change the oil in my car.
And I just spent literally like 20 minutes tearing up my house looking for these things, and I had 2 pair on top of my head. I'm going to show you today how to build your own pallet fencing and to protect your garden from, say, dogs, pests, all kinds of nonsense. I was pumped, but let's rock. So as you can see, I've got the majority of the fence all the way up. And I figured you don't want to watch me put up every single pallet. But I still got to finish this end over here and the gate, and I'm going to show you how to do the corners. There's only a few supplies you're going to need. That's going to be a hammer, heavy duty hammer. You're going to need a drill, and you're going to need some screws. You're going to need 3-inch, what I use is coarse thread screws. Now, the reason you want 3-inch is to make sure it goes through 2 2x4s. You are also going to need some garden posts. Now, what I mean by garden post is this skinny one on the left. This is a T-post. This is heavy duty. These are about $7 to $8 a piece. These are garden T-post, which they're a little thinner, a little more flimsy, but they only cost a couple dollars each. And the last thing you are going to need is pallets. Now, my pallet fencing is about 10 feet by 30 feet, and that took me 16 pallets. So we're going to start here at the corner. If you're assembling this from the first pallet, you're going to do the same process. So you want your corners to be extra secure. One thing I want to point out, make sure your ground is level, because if you have it real unlevel, it's going to be very janky looking and your boards are not going to fit together nice and snug. And that's not the goal here. We're going to take the corner board, corner pallet actually, and we're going to line it right up there. So you want to make sure that the sides are touching down here. You don't want a big gap. So do what you need to do accordingly as far as leveling the ground. And what you're going to do is you're going to get your screws. I suggest 3 of them, and when you put them in, make them go opposite directions. So one up top this way, one in the middle that way, one at the bottom that way. Let me bring you over here, and you can see as I screw them in how it pulls them in. Now on this corner, I'm not going to be able to alternate screw positions because this board over here is way too thick. So I'm going to do 3 at the same direction here, but I'm reinforce it, and I'll show you that next. Pull it together tight so the boards stick together. Just like that. Don't forget the bottom. And we're done with our corner. Got 3 screws in there. You can see I'm pulling on this thing. It ain't going anywhere. But we're going to reinforce that anyway. Take your T-post. This is more of a garden post. It's not a full-fledged T-post. We're going to drive it in here at the corner just to give it extra support. And if you're anything like me, be careful hammering this in. If you hit something solid, stop, because you might have a septic line underneath this. But this ain't going nowhere. And now we've got our corner finished. We're just going to keep going and go ahead and finish it all the way to the wall. We're going to repeat the same process only we're going to put them side to side instead of at a corner. These fit smoothly together here at the top because the ground has been leveled, as I mentioned earlier. This is why it's important. And this is why you want to make sure your screw is long enough here. You want to make sure it goes through both pieces of wood. This one does. At this point, you want to make sure your screws go in different directions. I'm using 3 screws. It provides structural soundness to your pallet fence. Again, get them tight enough so that they're touching and you don't have a big gap there. Let's go ahead and do the second one. This is where it can get a little tight down here. So we're going to come up a little bit so we have room to do this. When you're doing this, be sure you don't strip out the screw and be sure you don't punch into the wood because it will crack and break the wood, and then now you got to find a new pallet. Let's go get the last one done. And as I said, we alternate, so we're going to go this direction now. Pull the boards together. Done. Let's go finish up and let's do the next 2. What I want to do here is show you the placement of the garden post or T-post. Got one you can see down here in the corner, right there. Now, I don't need to do one every section of the pallet, but what I do is I come to the opposite end of the next one over and drive this T-post in right here. Just a little added structure. Sturdy. Put the top one in over here. Now there's no place here for me to put my hand or screw this in. So we're going to do it on the same side and then alternate on the bottom. As I said before, make sure you screw it in tight enough so that it pulls the wood together. Now, we got the side of this fence almost done, and one more pallet, we just ain't going to be able to squeeze in here. I don't care how much chicken fat you put on this thing, it ain't going to fit. So we're going to have to cut this. Let me show you how I do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this board up here, and we're going to take one of these reading and writing things, or a pencil, and we're going to draw a line over here of where it needs to be cut. So we're going to take our little straight line chalk thingamajigger here, and we're going to hold it on where we drew our line, and we're going to pop it on. Now we have a line and we know where to cut. So you can see our line that we've drawn with our straight line chalk thingy, and we're going to cut that. And then after we cut that, we're going to mark the bottom part and we're going to cut that. Let me show you how this is done. Make sure of 2 things before you do this. Make sure you got some earplugs, and make sure you got some glasses. It's all fun and games till somebody loses an eye or you can't hear. Safety first, baby. Let's get this thing flipped over to the other side. In here, so I can kind of eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you can kind of look through the boards and see where you cut the last one and draw your line on that way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you wear steel-toed boots. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this end board here and we're going to attach this to the part we cut off. Too easy. I'm using a hammer and or a pry bar for this. Make sure you don't flip the nails all over the place. You don't want to step on those and you don't want your dog stepping on them. So we're going to take these little end pieces off here. Take your hammer if you can't get underneath the wood, wedge it in, and just pry it up. And try not to smash your knuckles on the wood when you push down on that. Now, you may notice you got some nails sticking up here. There's an easy solution for that. It's called the hammer. Just hammer these nails in. This ain't precision work. Just hammer these things in so they ain't sticking out so we can use this piece of wood. We're done. We're going to take this piece of wood, we're going to slide it in here, and this is our new side. Now, you got two options for attaching this board. You can either use nails or you can use screws. Screws are going to be a little more secure and a little easier to put on, but I got a ton of nails, so I'm going to use these. Now, make sure you use something with a wide head on it because you don't want it going through the wood and the board coming off. And if you're anything like me and you're ambidextrous, you can use both hands so you don't tire out one arm and you don't have one giant arm, one skinny arm. Now you're going to notice here on one side, this 2x4 that we used has got a little divot here. So to stop the board from being all loose, you want to make sure it's thoroughly secured on the other side. See, this one looks a little janky right here and it's a little broken. So we're going to go throw a nail on that side. Good as new. We have our smaller board to use on our opening there that a full-size pallet won't fit in. Let's see how it fits. Perfect fit. See how easy that is? And we're going to attach this board the same as we did the others, and we're done. That's all it took. We need one more T-post of reinforcement over here for the corner. Always put T-post or garden post, whatever you want to call them, on the corners. May wobble a little bit, but it ain't going nowhere. This is probably the hardest part. It's not very hard, but that's attaching the hinges to the door and then to the gate. So my suggestion is you attach these to the door first. Let me show you how we do it. Make sure your hinge closes and opens the way you attach it. So we're going to hold it up there where we want it, and we're going to put 3 little pencil marks where the holes are. Or you can use a Sharpie, that way you can see it even better. And go ahead and attach the hinge. Now we're just going to repeat that process on the other 2 hinges in the middle of the door and all the way at the bottom. Make sure you keep the door elevated. Now, I have gone on ahead and attached one side of the latch here to the door itself, but I've got to make sure I attach the part that it hooks into evenly so that the latch catches it. So you're going to want to make sure this part is on straight, otherwise you're not getting this latch around here. I think I hit a nail, but that's all right. Just kind of do it at a little bit of an angle. Make sure your latch closes on there. Good to go. And what you can do is get you a big old nail. Locks itself. So what we've done here today is shown you how to build pallet fencing on the cheap, which is my favorite price. Actually, free is my favorite price, but you get the point. But this is something you can do. Wasn't that hard to do. I showed you how to do it. And as always, right on cue, Bojangles got the camera going, so he knows it's time to start acting a fool. There's 3 types of men. The one who learns by reading, the few who learn by observation, and the rest just have to pee on the electric fence themselves to figure it out. Let's not forget, we were created on purpose, for a purpose. Be your purpose. Until next time on Chatting with Chintzy, I'm Chintzy Barato. Out.